Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me again for episode 2 of my home birth journey. Yes, thank you for everyone who viewed my video, who showed love to my video. So, yeah, thank you guys, and thank you for listening to me once again. Again, my name is Milka. And yeah, I just want to talk about what led me to making a decision to try to give birth at home. I just want to come here, give more to my story, give some updates on where I am on the journey, and yeah, also what I hope to do next, my plans. Yeah, so I'm a little bit over 6 months. Well, next week I'll be 7 months. Next week I'll be 7 months pregnant. So then I'll have like 3 months to go. I'm excited about that. So I've entered into like the extreme planning phase, getting things ready for the home birth and also getting things ready for the baby as well, like, collecting the things that I need, clothes, diapers, and all of that in between. So, where am I? Where did I leave off? I left off talking to you guys about how I gave birth to my first son, how my experience was at the hospital, and also now I want to talk about how I ended up going back to the hospital again, even though I wanted to give a home birth to my second son. I did end up going back to the hospital, so I want to talk a little bit about that and then just give you guys some updates about where I am in the planning phase and what I hope to do next as things progress. Yeah, so where am I? So yeah, after the birth of my first son, around the time when my first son was like 6 months, I got pregnant with my second son. Yeah, so I got pregnant with my second son. The pregnancy went pretty well. It was kind of rough because my other son was still a baby, but all in all, the pregnancy went well. Everything was okay. I worked up until like almost the last week of almost up until I gave birth, I was working. So me and my husband had ended up moving like a month prior to us prior to me giving birth. We moved. So that was kind of hard for me, but it was good. So anyways, let me skip to the nitty-gritty because I don't want to make this a long video like I did the other one. Remember, I'm new to YouTube, and what I like is watching short videos myself. So I know, sometimes the videos can be long, but I don't want to talk on and on. So sometimes I want to make them short for y'all. So anyways, skip all that. Um, we reached to the point where we are in our new house. And I remember that day, it was like, I think I had just come back from work because around that time I was working as a home health aide, and I still do. I still work as a home health aide. But yeah, I was working as a home health aide and I was doing overnights, and I had just come back from an overnight, and it was like morning hours, and I was in the house with my husband, and I was also there with his brother. I think his brother had come to visit us for some reason. I think it was in the morning. Was it in the afternoon? Was it in the evening? Like, honestly, I really don't remember. All I know is that we were all in the house together, convening in the kitchen, talking, and my water broke. Yeah, my water broke just. Psh. And I was so surprised because with my first son, my water had to be broken for me. they had to break my water and all of that. So I was like, oh, I was super excited. I was like, oh my God, my water broke. I got to experience that. And so yeah, my water broke. And then immediately me and my husband like, let's go to the birthing center because um although I had decided to do a home birth again with my second son, I still had that fear in me. Like I was super scared out, and on top of it, I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't knowledgeable about it. And whenever I used to go to the hospital or to the birthing center, they used to tell me, "Oh, it's best to do it at the birthing center with a midwife than to do it at home." So I never really cared or took the time to research home birth. What is the process? How does it look like? I just lived in that fear. So even I skipped a stage because even though I did have that weird experience with the birthing center and the hospital with my first son, I decided to give it a second chance with my second son. I'm like, you know what? The first time was I was a new mom. Um, I was newly pregnant, so maybe this time I'm going to be more knowledgeable. I'm going to be more hip. I'm going to be more ready to, go through giving birth at the birthing center. Let me give it a second chance because although I would love to give birth at home. Like, I still feel like I need that, like, support of, like, doctors and all of that stuff. I still need that, medical support. That's what I was telling myself. And that's what my husband was telling me, too. He's like, you know what? Like, anything can happen when you give birth at home. Things can go down with you or with the baby. So at least at the birthing center, like, yeah, it's like you're giving a home birth experience, but it's still medically inclined because the hospital's right next there. You have the midwives over there. You have, the nurses, and like if anything ever goes down with you or the baby, like you're good because it's still it's still connected to the hospital. It's a birthing center, but it's still connected to the hospital. It just gives you that umbrella of like, like you're giving birth at home, because the idea is right after you give birth at the birthing center, you only stay for a couple of hours. Like they don't keep you at all. You stay for like, I think it was like not even a day. You don't even stay. You just stay for hours and then you go home. They discharge you and you get to go home right away. Whereas in the hospital they keep you for some time, running tests on the baby, doing this, doing that. At the birthing center, like you get to go home right away. Then you can come back and do all the appointments and all that stuff like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, let me give it a chance for the second time. So me and my husband got in the car. We're like, oh yeah, it's time, it's time. By that time I had the bag ready anyways. Like I was super ready that time, because I had worked up until the end. So I had everything ready with my second son. I even had a bag packed, ready to go to the birthing center. So we went over to the birthing center. We got over there and then they were like, oh, um, yeah, they were like, you didn't have to come here. You should have just stayed home and carried on your contractions until they reached a certain point and then came to the birthing center, which I understand because that was the agreement and everything, and that's how it's supposed to go. But for me, I didn't really like that because I was living like something like 45 to 50 minutes away from that birthing center. I was living very, very far, and I was scared. I was like, oh my God, like if I have the contractions here. And I'm telling you, like, though, it's so crazy. Though I wanted to give birth at home, like, I wanted that experience, like, I was still very fearful of it, still very scared, still very uninclined to go down that road. So I was scared to even have contractions at home. Like, I was scared of contractions. I was scared of the pain. I was scared of all of that. Like, I was a little bit of like a coward. Like, I couldn't even carry out my contractions at home. So I was like, let's just go to the birthing center because I wanted that care. I wanted that care. I wanted to see my doula. I wanted to see the midwife. Like, I just wanted that care, when I'm having the contraction. I wanted to be surrounded, surrounded with people around, be surrounded with people who are gonna like give me care and guidance and stuff like that. But they were like, no, you have to go home and have out the contractions, and when they reach a certain point, then you can come back, basically when they become unbearable, the baby's about to come. But I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, I have to drive back, have contractions, and then when I feel like it has reached, like, like whatever they were saying, like, I don't remember, like, I wasn't even paying attention. Or let's just say, like, I'm just guessing, like an hour apart, maybe like something like 2 hours apart or an hour apart. They like come back. For me, that was a problem because I'm like, I'm having contractions. I didn't want to sit in the car and be, you know, going through contractions and driving like 15 minutes to the hospital and just going through all that pain and all that discomfort. And I'm sitting in the car. I'm like, let me just stay here. Like, we're already here. And then they were like, okay, the only way we can keep you here is if we induce you. So, guys, that's how I ended up getting induced again. You know, you're probably saying, like, why would you do that again? Like, why would you go through that again, even though you went through that with your first son? It was unpleasant and everything. Why would you go through that again? It was because it was like, I don't know. I was in a weird position because honestly, I didn't want to go back home. I wanted to be at the birthing center. I wanted to enter the birthing center where I have like my little home birth experience there, have my contractions there because they had everything there. They had the jacuzzi there, they had the ball, they had the bed, they had everything that you owe. Like, it looked like a home. It really looked like, like a bedroom. It looked like a real bedroom. I'm like, I might as well stay here. Like, wow, this is why I'm paying you guys all this money anyways. Like, my insurance is taking out a bunch. You guys are taking a bunch of money out of my insurance so I can have this experience in this little room that you created that looks like a home. So why would I go back home and have contractions from there? Let me have my contractions from here and have that guidance from you guys, and have that care from you guys. But they're like, you can't. You can't. The only way you can do that is if you get induced. So I was like, you know what? Fine. Let me just get induced. And then, and I thought it was like, why am I getting induced anyways? Because my water broke. So it's not like I needed to be induced because my water broke and the baby was already on the way. But I don't know what it was. Like, I don't know if it was maybe something like they had to listen. And I would really love if other people can comment on this and just, if other women have experienced this, this thing too. It's sort of like I was being like offered, like I was stuck, like I was sort of like stuck, and then I should have, again, like I should have had that inclination in me to be like, you know what, let me just go home and give birth at home, because let me just go home, because it's like they were basically forcing me to go back home, and I knew if I went back home I was going to give birth at home. Like, I wasn't going to make it back to the hospital. I just wasn't. But anyways, like, I wasn't ready. I wanted a transition, I wanted to first experience, sort of like have that sort of like a home birth experience in a birthing center, have that experience because it's non-medical, right? The birth center is non-medical. And then once I get that experience in the birthing center, then I can think about giving birth at home, when I do have my next children in the future. But it didn't happen that way. It really didn't. Like, it's like the birth center at Cambridge Hospital. It's like I was never allowed to give birth there. Like, they never really wanted me to give birth there. And I'm not putting all the blame on them, because also me, like, I really wasn't following their rules or their guidelines that they had, which they really shouldn't be putting all those rules and guidelines there anyways. Like, they should just be free and sort of like let women, do what is comfortable for them. Like if I came and I want to have my entire birth experience at the birthing center, in a birthing center, contractions and all, and go through labor and everything there, like you should be okay with that. You shouldn't have to give me you shouldn't have to tell me like, well, if you want to give birth here, if you want to stay here, and go through your entire laboring experience here, we have to induce you. It's like y'all didn't want to give me the time to just go through that process, having my water to be broken, having the contractions to come on slowly. It's like you just wanted to like push me out, get me in, get me out, just like the hospital. Get me in, get me out. So it wasn't, I just felt like it wasn't personal, like I didn't get that care. Like I didn't get that care and that time and the attention that I needed. So in the end, I was like, you know what? Like I'm here. Even the hospital too. They were like, if you want to stay at the hospital too, if you want to stay at the hospital and you have to be induced, we have to induce you because of blah 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 BCD. They're giving me all these reasons why they had to induce me because, I came and I should probably just go home and have my contractions and not because it was too early. My water just broke. I'm like, come on, like the water broke. Like the baby can come at any time. If I drive back right now, like anything can happen on the way. Like I don't know. So I was like, okay, fine. Like I gave in because these doctors and the nurses, like they have a way of persuading you, and they use their medical jargon and everything, and you get all caught up in everything. You get all caught up in the heat of the moment, and you just like, you know what, like, fine. So I just gave it up, and I just gave him like, you know what, fine, induce me. So I end up getting induced, and I don't know, for the second time, and the pain for the second time I was induced, the pain was extremely unbearable. And also like because the pain was extremely unbearable, the nurses or the doctor did end up giving me that narcotic that I was telling you guys again, like the one I took with my first son, because being induced, like that thing is unbearable. It's the pain is just unbearable. Like it was so much worse than it was with my first son. I don't know why. Like it was awful. I don't know why I did it again. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. And then I remember now I was in the hospital because they had induced me, because you can be induced in the birthing center, because remember the birthing center is non-medical. So I had to first go to the hospital, the hospital labor ward, to be given all those medication, the induction and the narcotic and whatever. But then by the time the nurse came from the birthing center, she's like, you can't no longer go to the birthing center because you took the narcotic and you were not supposed to take medicine. Um, so you no longer qualify to go to the birthing center. Like after spending 9 months having appointments at the birthing center, planning everything out with the midwife and everything, they just canceled me. They're like, you can't go there because you took the narcotic, which I understand. I understand that, but at the same point, like they put me between a rock and a hard place, because when I came there initially when my water broke, my plan was to go to the birthing center. They denied me, and they gave me, and then they put me between a rock and a hard place, telling me it's either you go home or you get induced to stay to go to the birthing center. So now because I got induced, it brought on some extreme pain that was so unbearable. I had to take either the narcotic or an epidural, and I was not going to take an epidural. The pain was unbearable. I took the narcotic instead. So anyways, so long story short, my son came out. I gave birth to my son, y'all. I gave birth to my son, and that was it. And we ended up taking him home after like one day, and I was like telling my husband, like, I'm not staying here in this hospital. I need to get out of this hospital. Like, I don't want to stay here. So we ended up leaving the hospital after one day, and they were fighting me. They didn't want me to leave the hospital. I left the hospital without giving my son any vaccinations. He's not vaccinated up until now. He's vaccination free. I never vaccinated my second son. That's a story for another day. So they had an issue with the fact that I never wanted to vaccinate my son, so they were giving us a hard time leaving the hospital. They were trying to hold me there, but we had to fight. In the end, we fought. We had to fight the hospital staff to leave the hospital with my second son. That's a story for another day, because right now I'm talking about my home birth journey and everything, and that's included in it. That is included in it, but I will make that a story for another day, like another shorter video about why the hospital fought me and my husband because we refused to get vaccinations for my son, and they didn't want to release us. We had to literally fight to leave. But anyways, guys, so that's it. I had my second son. Everything went fine. He's big now. He's 4. My first is 5, and everything's going well with them. So what did I learn from that experience? Now that I'm pregnant again with my third, what I learned is that it's okay. Like, I don't really need nobody. Like, I can do it on my own. The only person I need is God. The only person I need to trust in is God. The person who's going to be with me when I'm pushing out the baby, when I'm having the contractions, when I'm going through everything that I'm going through is God and my husband. That's it. And I was going to get a midwife, but the state of Massachusetts makes it so hard to get midwives at home to come and help you and have them be covered through your health insurance. So if you're going to pay out of pocket, it's something like $5,000 and up. $5,000 and up. And honestly, I don't have money to pay anyone, like a one-time payment of $5,000. Like, I'm just going to rely on my natural instincts. I'm going to rely on the I'm just gonna rely on God and rely on the knowledge and the wisdom that my ancestors left me. My ancestors before me, my beautiful African woman ancestors, have left us so much wisdom and so much knowledge when it comes to giving birth naturally at home. Because back then there wasn't any hospitals at all. Those things didn't exist, and women were giving birth just fine within the comfort of their home, without any type of medical anything. So right now it's like it's a big test for me. It's something spiritual for me. It's definitely something spiritual for me because it's like for me it's like asking myself, can I fully trust in the Most High? Can I fully trust in the Most High to be the one who is going to deliver? I'm parked at the park, so can I fully trust in the Most High to be the one who's gonna deliver my baby? Like, I want to trust my body. I want to trust my intuition. I want to trust in the Most High. I'll be calling on my ancestors, those who have come before me. I want to trust. I'm gonna trust on my husband as well. And I told him, I'm like, you're gonna be my midwife. Like, you have the capability to catch your baby. You're gonna catch your own baby. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna pray about it. We're gonna be in that, where we are at home. I'm gonna push the baby out because it's natural. Like, everything comes natural. God has already instilled in us everything we need to do what we need to do on planet Earth. I feel like it's us humans who now add on other things. And you know what? Listen, like, I'm not saying that people who give birth in a hospital or give birth in a birthing center, or who get C-sections or whatever, I'm not saying that it's not spiritual or that you're not trusting in God. Listen, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about my experience. I'm talking about, why this is personal to me. For me, I feel like This is a test that I feel like I need to pass for some reason. Like, it's been there ever since I got pregnant with my first son. It's been a calling for me to give birth at home. But with the fear, with the taboo of it all, not getting support, not really getting educated on the subject matter, within my community or within my church, or just no one talks about it. Like, it's just so taboo. Everyone's just like, go to the hospital, go to the hospital, which is also understandable. That's what people are used to. But for me, it's something spiritual. I want to trust in myself that I can do it. I want to trust in my body, that my body is capable of doing this. And also I want to trust in the little baby too. I tell the baby all the time. The baby knows straight up. We have conversations. We talk to ourselves. I pass my whatever I'm telling her through my thoughts. We talk, we communicate, and she knows or he knows. I don't know the sex of the baby either. Like, I want to find out the sex of the baby when I push the baby out. That's what I want. So I don't know the sex of the baby right now as well. Everything is a mystery. Yeah, and I trust in the baby too, that the baby knows what the baby is doing too. The baby knows how to guide itself out of the womb, how to guide itself out. The baby God has instilled all of those things within the baby's, genetic makeup. The baby comes fully equipped with all that wisdom and the knowledge on how to guide itself out of the womb. And as well as me, the mother, I'm also equipped with all that wisdom and that knowledge and that understanding on how it is to give birth without even anybody. Women give birth when there's even nobody. Nobody. So if women can give birth when there's even nobody, I think I'm going to be capable of doing it, with just me and my husband. And I trust his intuition too. So guys, that's where we are. I'm not going to be getting a midwife for the simple fact that I have decided to trust in myself, trust in my husband, trust in my baby as well, that we can do this. All three of us, we can make it, we can do it. And also I have also decided that yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, to trust in the Most High. Number one, to trust in the Most High. God is going to deliver this baby for me. God, the Most High Jah, will bring about this baby for me seriously and truly. Yeah, so what are the next steps right now? What am I working on right now? I am working on getting my mind into that thought process that yes, 3 months are coming, 3 months are left, and I will be able to do this on my own with my husband and God and the baby. Getting my mind ready, getting my body ready. I'm eating more healthier because I want to be more in shape. So I'm taking in more fruits, more water, more like things that are full of like vitamins and minerals. I'm doing more exercises to open up my pelvis, to just make sure that I'm in shape and my body is in shape and ready. I'm working on myself spiritually because it's going to be so hard. I know that. It's going to be so hard because I had to come to a point where I had told myself that, you know, like sometimes you don't need to be surrounded by people to do certain things. You can do it on your own. You don't need to surround yourself with people to feel that, that safety and that comfort and that support. You don't, it's there. And I'm not saying like in the future, if I give birth to more children, like I might have that, like I might have a midwife, I might have a doula, I might be surrounded by many people, who knows? But as of now, there's a squirrel over there just watching me talk as it eats whatever. But as of now, I'm gonna do it on my own with my husband and the baby and the Most High Jah. So that's where I am right now. I'm getting my body ready, my spiritual life ready, and yeah, so guys, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I really wish everyone well in their endeavors. Thank you for just taking the time to learn from me, and I hope to learn from you. I really hope that you guys enjoy my conversation and you will love to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment, please. I really like to have dialogue and conversation with people. So thank you, and I love you all, and stay blessed, and I'll see you on the next episode, episode 3. I think I'll have more interesting things to talk about. I think I might take some time to make episode 3, because now I'm just sort of busy with things going on in my own personal life, getting things ready for the baby, for the home birth, and just, raising my 2 boys, whom I am homeschooling right now as well. Yes, I homeschool them. So my life is so busy and complicated, and sometimes I never get free time to just come out and make a video. But I hope to see everyone soon and talk to everyone who loves and supports me very much. Thank you. Bye bye.